From yesterday's show, someone writes in, Dan is trying so hard to have a beef with Draymond. What's going on? What's up with the new Draymond obsession? I guess a little back and forth with Draymond would help the ratings. It's a little sad, though.
He's that guy.
Many of you have complained to me that I'm talking too much about an ancillary character, somebody who is the 5th or 6th or 7th best player in this series. But if you're interested in sports and sports history, if you're interested in personalities, a soap opera, drama, Draymond Green, whom I root for in every endeavor. I want him to have great success. I want him to have platforms. I want him to be able to speak freely. When you invite the circus to the fight, because you're as confident as he is and you play as poorly as he did in this series, that is a ratcheting human pressure any of us can understand, no matter how superhuman these people are. Whether you like it or not, Draymond Green is going to be one of the interesting athletes of our lifetime. He's invented himself as such, as a mouth. He will have a long career in broadcasting. He's been auditioning for it, and now the job is his. And he's going to be one of these rare players who's a broadcaster while he's a player, and he will segue as a champion into whatever space Barkley allows. But you realize how few personalities like this we have anywhere in sports or sports history that are willing to be this kind of outspokenly themselves. They're rare, and I want to talk about him because I find him more interesting than most of the guys playing in this series. There's only so much I can say to you about Klay Thompson. I like his story. I know his story. I've been reading his story for 10 years. I've been watching his interviews. He doesn't give up a lot in interviews. Klay Thompson is great at what he does. Not interesting.
I actually find Klay interesting because he's like kind of quirky. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. He doesn't make a lot of news. But I actually like Klay's personality.
He's good for social media. It's not good for like polarizing sports talk conversation.
I'm not saying he's not likable, Chris, and I'm not saying that he doesn't have deadpan, quirky stuff that he does that's funny. Steph Curry's damn likable, unbelievably likable. Like you have to be rooting against people in sports. And you have to have some hate in your heart to not like what Steph Curry has done with his career. But sitting down and being interviewed, talking, saying interesting things, willing to go after people, willing to create conflict for no good reason, thriving off the conflict, wanting more and more attention, and then headed into that game last night where you're an ancillary character, but your coach was just forced to bench you. I didn't invent that controversy. Kerr did. By saving their season with a decision that required this guy, who's the biggest of all the mouths, to go to the bench at deciding time.
He has to be the only NBA basketball player that can shoot 23% in a final, 0% from three, and command a ton of attention. Even in watching the basketball game, not even the headlines and the post-game press conferences and the podcast to follow, in the basketball game, I was relentlessly fascinated by watching him play and figuring out how he's going to make something of this game. And singular made baskets were like momentous occasions for him because he had been so bad offensively in this series.
The reason, though, for those who are complaining about how often I talk about him, I would just say to you, do you know how rare the interesting ones are? Do you know how rare the ones are who invite in the middle of this circus? Yes, make it more. Yes, make it bigger. Let me fight with everybody. I'm not going to walk back any of my words. I'm not going to apologize. I'm going to fight everywhere there's a fight to be had. I'm going to let you talk about me. Is this a distraction? Is his podcast taking up too much of his time? Is his focus where it needs to be? And the entire time, all he's doing is building the Draymond brand under the LeBron umbrella, invented out of nowhere. A second-round pick who's great at defense out of Michigan State, like invented a brand out of nowhere with his mouth that's made him a star, and a star he couldn't be. His play would never allow, and he's the closest thing we've got to Rodman or whatever the personalities are that are never willing to be this kind of villain, never welcoming this kind of polarizing.
And it's so weird that normally talkers, in theory, would have to back it up with some massive performance, right? If Jason Tatum talked like Draymond Green did, he would have to step out onto the floor and score 35 points and win the game. Otherwise, you shut him up. Draymond Green, through his sheer force of personality is unstoppable in that way. It's not like you shut him up because he only scored 6 points last night, or last night he had a good game, he only scored 8. But because of the way that he's not going to stop. He's going to throw around his bona fides whenever he gets a chance. And so you can't really stop him. And that's what is this massive force, because he's going to keep going. He's going to keep doing, he's going to be this guy as a pundit, like Charles Barkley is, where he's going to have such confidence to back himself that he's going to go after people that he doesn't have the resume of.
Chris Cody, why do you say that Justin Thomas has revealed himself to be a monster?
I mean, I love Justin Thomas. Great game, great golf game. I saw a video on Twitter. I don't know if it was part of the new Netflix series. It was some behind-the-scenes look of Justin Thomas in a locker room interacting with another player. And as he was interacting, he was casually getting ready, suiting up for his round. And he was putting his shoes on, and he was putting on sock, shoe. Oh, my God. And you want to talk about, murder. I've never thought that of Justin Thomas before until, like I want everybody, does anybody put their shoes on that way? You go sock, shoe. I mean, it's just what you do.
It's the American way,
It was
Chris.
the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Put it on the poll. Do you distrust, Guillermo, at Le Batard Show, do you distrust someone more who goes sock, shoe in the morning?
My jaw was, it shocked me more than all the live stuff.
Really?
I was like, Dustin Johnson,
Really?
You're
going
more
to work
appalled,
for
but you're
people.
more
That's
appalled
right.
by
You're
this
more
than people
appalled.
taking
You're
money
more-
from
yes,
Live Golf.
I understand, Chris. You love golf. I have seen twice recently on a George Carlin documentary and on Hacks 50 years apart, just the sentence, golf is racist.
Greg Norman, good with it.
What?
This, not for me, Clive.
Appalling. You can't deal with it.
I was joking for the record out there. everybody.
Yes.
Don't come
Wow,
after
you
me.
walked that back scared, more scared than a me.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
Nobody, you've never done that by accident, though? Like, do you?
No,
do you-
I'll take off my shoe if I do it by accident.
Really?
Do it right.
oh,
Because I'm
oh,
just
that-
like,
that's
what the
more
hell did I
ridiculous.
just do?
I
Roy
just-
seems like a guy that might go sock, shoe, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, you can kiss my ass. How about
Wow, really?
He doesn't answer the question. He just attacks me.
that? No.
Unnecessarily
No.
defensive.
There's a process to this. First,
Why
you
would
gotta
I want to
find-
kiss your ass?
Because it's an insult.
Why do we tell people to kiss our ass? I don't want someone kissing my ass.
It seems worse for the receiver of the kiss of the ass.
You'd rather kiss an ass and have your
You know
ass
what?
kissed?
I will kiss your ass.
No.
do it. I dare you.
What?
All right, here we
All
go.
right.
Why?
If he's got to whip
This
it out,
is out
though.
of control.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
All right. I'm not gonna whip it out.
What are you
This
doing?
is a classic
I
game
don't
of
understand.
chicken. This
I
is a
don't
classic game of
understand.
chicken.
Why would you volunteer
Neither
for
one's
this?
gonna go through with it.
How did we
Neither
end
one's
up
gonna
here?
do it.
How did this happen?
Who blinks first?
I'm uncomfortable with everything that's happened here.
Classic game of chicken.
Okay, well now where are we though?
Lewis says to buy him like 10 seconds.
We've got Cresco. Oh wow. Okay, so we need video to get in position.
This isn't gonna happen.
I'm not going to be able to explain this to
Why am I
anybody.
centering myself in this shot? I need to kind of move out of the way. Yeah, I don't want
I
this
don't
added
know
to my
why
reel.
this has escalated
I'm
to
still
here.
there.
Why are we in a position?
wanted this.
I don't think anybody.
Roy did ask for it.
I don't.
Well, I shouldn't phrase it that way. Wow, Chris blinked. Chris blinked. Roy won the game
I
of
don't have
chicken.
to take off my pants for this. But you do
Well,
have to kiss.
I don't
yeah,
want
you
any
didn't
of
say
this.
kiss my
I'm
jeans.
made
You
uncomfortable
didn't
by
say kiss
all
my
of this.
jeans.
Okay, enough of this.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm glad
as
there's
I was-
finally a mature
as I
adult
was
in the
saying,
room.
there's a process to this. You have to grab your socks first out of the drawer. Your shoes.
Well, that's an
might be
obvious
on the-
process. I
Yeah, it's
think.
the first process that you actually have to go through.
Who puts their socks in the drawer? It's just in the laundry room, right? All socks just live in the laundry room,
In
right?
the dryer.
My socks very rarely reach the drawer.
What does that mean?
I put all my clothes away, but the socks always just chill in the laundry room. They're not even paired up together. I
I
gotta
can
find
imagine
them.
how disorganized you are.
That's I don't even do
Ran
my
out of
laundry.
drawers for it. Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, everybody here puts 1,000% of their laundry away in their
Yes.
drawers every single. All right, I mean, Woody, no, obviously you do, but I'm talking about
But
the
your
normal
socks
human.
just like in a basket? Where
I'm
do
saying
they,
of
where do they
all the
exist?
when you're putting away laundry, the socks are at the bottom of the food chain.
But where do they exist?
Like we have a little pile of clean socks in that haven't been matched yet of like my wife's, my daughter's, mine. So every morning I walk in the laundry room and I gotta like find two. I'm
Whittingham-
like, this is not that
Do you match
wild.
your socks? I don't match my
People are-
socks and I get crap for it. Today they're matching. So it's
You
a
guys
bad
are looking at me
example.
like I have porn on my computer.
What color are your socks?
Whittingham is dropping his head into his hands, mortified at the idea of a shared sock bin.
Just that's more effort in terms of grabbing 2 socks in the morning
Then sitting for a
just-
half hour. Dude, I have 3 people I live with. Do you think this is an easy? Your sock game is easy, I imagine.
Wow. Jeez.
I didn't always just do laundry by myself like I once lived in my childhood home. And yeah, matching socks is tedious.
It's fun.
but you do it real quick, and then you move on with your life because you have organized socks.
I just don't think what I said is that wild and crazy.
You almost kissed a human's butt.
That's
moments
that's
ago.
what I mean. You guys are looking at me
That's
crazier
happened
No.
for my
this
sock
segment.
take than
No,
me willing to
I-
kiss
Anything
Roy's
for
ass.
something.
You blinked. You weren't willing.
I have been questioning every decision I've ever made over the last 5 minutes as it escalated to Roy standing and you kneeling at his butt. And it
Don't
being,
tell me to kiss your ass if you don't mean it.
and it being a stare down between you kneeling at his ass and him saying, "I'm not taking off my jeans."
You
I'm
should
like,
have farted in his face.
yes,
That would have learned him.
Yeah.
that making it even more mature than where we already were. Yes, he
What
could
do
have.
you do with your socks, Dan? You ball them, I'm assuming, and put
I
them
was-
away in a drawer.
Dan was looking at me in the eyes like I can relate to you a
No,
little
the
bit
part
on
I
this.
was relating to is that sometimes hanging things out to dry, they never make it to the closet because they're hanging out to dry wherever it is that we've hung them to dry. But no, I don't keep a batch of socks in a bin in the laundry room.
So you don't throw everything in the dryer. You actually hang your shirts.
Roy,
and your
you
pants?
put everything in the
I put
dryer?
everything in the dryer.
You're a monster.
No, I put everything in the
I don't
dryer
have-
too.
I'm
Everything
just
goes in the
imagining
dryer.
now Dan like it's
Everything
got
goes in the dryer.
Sonsillos
What's the matter
outside,
with
like
you?
on a line outside of the apartment. I don't think that's how that's happening.
It is how it is
No
how it
way.
happens. It is.
We
I'll
drive
send
down
you
the
I'll
beach
send
somewhere,
you-
we look up
I
and
will
like,
send-
whoa.
I will send you a photograph. I will send you a photograph.
Laundry day at the
Old
Lebatard.
school Cuban style. That's right. Just like Boppy did it. That's
Dude,
absolutely right.
Those old clotheslines
You
outside,
only recognize it because you were it. Who you kidding?
they're super dangerous. I had a cousin, Carlos, who split his head open on one of them because it was made of concrete. There's like the metal ones with the lines, and then there's the concrete ones. And we were playing freeze tag outside when he was a little kid. This is like one of the days I lost my innocence. We were playing freeze tag as a little kid. And they went to tag my cousin Carlos, and the push wasn't me. I'm not going to say who it was. I think it was my cousin Christopher. The push was a little hard for the freeze tag, and his head went boom, bagata, right into the concrete clothesline column outside. Split his head open. I saw a human skull that day. Blood was everywhere, gashing, shooting, spurting everywhere. It was all over the place. And I saw my cousin's skull, and I was like, I will never be the same way again. Also, I'll go into bankruptcy if I have to buy a dryer, because I can't have that happen to future generations after I saw this as a child.
That was like your first important adult.
I saw
Possession.
a human skull that day.
I did. A human skull.
It sounds awful. What you've described sounds awful.
You should get a dryer, Dan. I'm telling you.
I do have a dryer. I
like
just
changing.
don't want some of the nicer things to shrink so that I
Roy, that's a rookie move by you, drying everything. Witty too. Like
Yeah.
shirts, your shirts must shrink.
Not really.
No. Not really. No.
I mean, I don't know about that. Science. Yeah.
I don't experience.
That was well said,
Science.
Chris. That
Wow.
was
He's right about that.
was well said. Put it on the poll, Guillermo at Le Batard Show.
Science.
Is the shirt shrinking in the dryer
Rookie
is science? Yes, put that on the poll at Le Batard Show. I love if I'd asked you to expound even one syllable, I think
You
it would
got
have
it.
been just
Physics.
just science. Things shrink. It was your look it up. It was your. It's a camouflaged look it up.
It's a good move, because if you argue with him, then you're a science denier.
That's true. Yeah.
I don't experience my shirts as having shrunk. I experience myself as having gotten fatter. So maybe the dryer is a source of like shame, but maybe like misplaced shame that I'm not actually getting that much fatter. I'm just wearing a bunch of shirts that are shrinking.
Chris Cody, we don't normally do this late in the show, but we do like when Billy is righteously indignant about anything sports related. And you both came in here hot and bothered and good old fashioned mad at your baseball manager. both you because you lose a 1-run game to the Phillies and you're like trying to eke in to just get into 500. The division is hard. Just give me games during the summer to watch that matter, and you lose by 1 run against Philadelphia. You can't lose the game that Sandy is great in.
You're up 1 run in the 8th inning. Sandy has been the definition of a horse. I'm not even kidding. Like, look at his game logs. It is insane the last couple months. 8th inning.
It's all 7 innings, 8 innings, 120 pitches, 0 runs, 1 run.
And they had a 1-run lead, and the runner is on third base, 2 outs, 8th inning. This is a big spot. Donnie goes out there. I'm like, you got to leave him in.
At that point, I don't think he could have because they have that stupid mound visit rule where if you visit a pitcher for the second time, he has
But
to
don't
come
go out there then.
Yeah,
like,
no,
let
he
your
shouldn't
horse.
have
You
gone
know
out
he
there.
doesn't want to come out. Like, it's a
Let your
regular
horse
season
neigh.
game. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I'm Billy's usually the guy of Donnie, leave him in, and I'm like, oh, he's worried about arms and stuff. But in this situation, the game's on the line. He's gonna start the All-Star game.
He just had a hitter surrender, like hit into a double play.
It's just like, what are you doing? We're under 500. We're not. It's not like we're in this big play. Like, just let your guy. Like, show your guy. Hey, you want to be out here? You stay out
So
here.
what
I just
happened
don't
next? So what happened next?
Sandy went in the dugout and he not happy.
He took Sandy out of the game. Sandy was notably or visibly upset.
Like
he started
slamming his glove on the. Oh, it was bad.
Water bottles were flying, and then the very next pitch gave up the run, tie game. And
Of
then
course,
they
I
lose
was
the game in
rooting
the
for
ninth.
that, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Like, Donnie, here you go. You happy? Good
Really?
move. This
You were-
bullpen
you were-
stinks.
you were rooting
The best
ag-
bullpen pitcher's my high school teammate. It's not even true. He's one of the worst ones. But
Whoa! When are we going to interview him? When are we?
Well,
gonna
not now, probably.
When
Yeah,
are we
give,
going
it
to
a little,
interview?
give it a little time to breathe. Yeah, let's hang that one out to dry a
Why
little on
are
the
you ripping
clothesline.
your Marlins friend?
we'll bleep it.
No, we won't. We just exposed Amin's porn habit.
Babbitt.
We should, by the way, say that Sandy is Sandy Alcantara, the Miami Marlins starter. We've just been referring to him as Sandy.
No, people know
for the last 5
Yeah,
minutes.
Hoopers know. It's true.
But I will say, Chris, in your defense, his game log is extraordinary. He's thrown at least 7 innings in 7 straight
Whittingham,
starts.
I'm telling you that I came away. The conversation that we had about would Babe Ruth strike out 100,000 times was just standing behind home plate and watching this dude throw to the Giants. You know, the Giants are good. Giants have a few championships with a lot of these core players, and those guys had no chance to hit anything that he was throwing. Like nothing that he was throwing, they weren't coming close to hitting any of it in a way that made me think this is like the best pitcher I've ever seen, just because the sport has evolved to a place, if you can't hit this dude, if he's not hittable, if you're dominating these guys and throwing the entire game 99 miles an hour, I can't imagine, Billy, how mad you are.
Well,
Because
it's a stupid lefty-lefty matchup situation. It's like, this is one of the best, if not the best pitcher in the National League right now. Like, let him blow it for himself if he's going to. Give him one more hitter. Give him like 8 more pitches. Because I saw people defending Donnie, and they're like, well, if the next hitter takes it to 3-2, he could potentially go up 12 pitches. Then you're going from 113 pitches to 125. And it's like, come on. It's not going to be a 12-pitch at bat. That's very rare that's going to happen.
Very rarely will the decision work out for you if you're replacing Sandy Alcantara with Steven Okert. Okert. Just wanted to do that. Yeah. As you were.
What is going to happen
As
with
you were.
your relationship with your Marlins friend?
Well, he's not.
Well, we cut that from the podcast.
We're
I don't even know what
cruising
you're
right
talking
past
about.
this. No one heard that. Yeah, he said Richard Blyer. I love that guy. He should have been in there.
Sandy Alcantara is a full win above replacement better than every other pitcher in baseball. It's unbelievable.
War.
Whittingham.
You were dismissing him yesterday.
Wow.
You were.
No,
I told you to look at his
no.
game log yesterday, and you were like, okay, Marlins guys.
Yeah, no, we were
Wow.
talking about Scherzer, and he was like, what about Sandy? What about Sandy? What about Sandy? What about Sandy? I'm like, yeah, I got it. Yeah, okay, Marlins fans back there, but
Wow.
The thing that I would say to you, Whitty, if it didn't get your attention before this, is that I'm telling you that that's the best pitching I've ever seen in my life. That I'm just sitting back there and I'm like, oh my God, how does anybody do anything other than just walk right back to the dugout against this?
it's odd how the Marlins have had several pitchers who, at the moment in time, you could have considered the best pitcher in baseball. For me, in my lifetime, it's been Dontrelle Willis, who for a period was the best pitcher in baseball. It was a short period, but a period. And then Jose Fernandez, and now Sandy Alcantara is like in that conversation. Like, it's weird that the Marlins have that reputation.
Didn't Didn't Josh Johnson have a cup of coffee? As
Josh
one of the
Johnson
best
was
pitchers?
really good for a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah, he had a classic battle with Roy Halladay that ended up being a Roy Halladay no-hitter. Josh Johnson pitched another gem.
He was a guy at his peak. You were like, this could be the best pitcher ever. But he just did it for I feel like he only had
Yeah.
2 years of being really dominant.
He got a deal. He's good. I'm sure he's fine.
But, I mean, and then
I
you
know what he's
end,
doing right
you
now.
end the 2003 season thinking that Josh Beckett's the best pitcher in baseball. Like the Marlins have had an odd number of these guys. I also kind of wish that the Marlins would flip their identity and every team would try and be the Yankees. I hear Mike Schur complain about the size of Yankee Stadium all the time, that it's a sandbox, that it's too small and there's too many home runs hit there. I don't understand why, when David Sampson comes on, it's like, we wanted to lean into being a pitching-based team, and we wanted to find a bunch of good pitchers and have a huge ballpark. Why would you want from an
Just
entertainment...
be good at everything at the same time.
like an entertainment standpoint, why you'd want to lean into be good at pitching and have nothing happen in your ballpark because it's so big.
Why can't we just focus on everything? Why do we only have to choose one side to be good at? Because the Marlins have had good players, just never everyone good at the same time.
How mad are you at Mattingly?
Oh, look, I'm gonna be totally honest. I thought it was an off day, so I caught into the game a little bit late. I thought it was a travel day, so I tuned in a bit late. But
The baby walking's got you crazy.
it's just thrown everything off, dude. I'm telling you, don't have kids. Are you gonna have kids? Don't have kids. We don't need to get into that. Anyway, everyone was mad though. It was the maddest I've seen everyone at Mattingly at the same time. It was a bit crazy, and selfishly for something that I said last week or the week before, where I said Mattingly's not long for this job. I'm kind of, and this is bad. I don't hope that anyone loses their job. But if it were to happen, the sooner it would happen, the better, because I just kind of pulled that one out of my tuchus. And if it happens soon, then it makes it seem like I know something, which I really don't. I was just, throwing out there my biases towards Don Mattingly, even though he was very nice in person the one time I saw him and he signed a ball for my little cousin.
It's kind of like the Spo thing. We give Spo, some people criticize him, some people give him credit. No matter what, at the end of the game, he's going to his star. And it's like Don Mattingly's making it about himself. You clearly your best pitcher. Yeah. Let him finish it. What do you have to lose in this spot other than that you're showing confidence in your pitcher? It's just so infuriating.
So, in Don Mattingly's meager defense,
Oh, shut up.
there was
You're back.
6 hits, 3 walks, and 113 pitches after 7 2/3 innings.
They wanted one more batter.
That's a healthy start.
They wanted one more batter. They wanted him to be able to decide the game. If he'd allowed another base runner, you guys would have yanked him, correct? Or you would have just left him in there to throw
hit into a double play.
Once the bases were loaded, a double play happens right before this. So now there's 2 outs, and then they're like, "Oh, lefty's up. Let's do the left." It's just no, show your guy. You know what? I wonder how that works with the mound visit thing. What if Donnie doesn't realize the mound visit thing and walks out and oh shit, damn it.
Well, then he acts like he was
took
doing
2
it for
steps out of
something
the duck. What's the rule on that?
You gotta
once-
pretend.
Is it
The rule is don't forget you were out there before, asshole.
No, all right,
Wow.
obviously.
That's
but
how it's in the book. That's
what
weird.
if he's up on the top step and he's got 1 foot out of the dugout? Is that you've left
You
the
call
dugout?
time. You call
There's
time.
got to be a line
Once-
though.
Once
There's got to
you
be a line.
Yeah, maybe once you cross
Maybe
the line.
once you pass the line.
Yeah,
maybe.
you have to hop over. You can't step on it.
Of course.
We were talking about how Josh Johnson made a lot of money, and this is
Yeah, put it on poll as well, please, Billy. What Chris Cody just shouted across the room. Do you wonder what Josh Johnson is up to?
well. Okay, so this is an odd conversation starter. I follow Tom Kohler on Instagram still. Big Salad. Do you guys follow Tom Kohler?
No.
Tom Kohler.
Tom Kohler, for those who do not know, is a Marlins 5th starter who was a little bit on the heavier side.
By the
No,
way,
he wasn't. No, he was. No, he was. He was
He's
a
pretty thin.
string bean. Yeah, that guy was thin. Just had a lot of hair.
I would say
thinking of?
tall.
he
Who are
wasn't
you thinking
fat.
of?
He wasn't thin. He was just normal.
He was just a guy.
who are you
regular.
thinking of? Who's a
Hey,
fat
thanks.
starting pitcher you're thinking of?
I'm thinking of a 5th starter who's a bit thick for the
Brad
Marlins.
Penny?
No,
Brad
not
Penny.
that far back.
He was thick.
Regardless,
Anyway, so I followed Tom Kohler on Instagram.
4.5 ERA, 5.
He's been building this crazy house that he now seems to have moved into, but I've been following oddly just because he was posting updates for months. I was following him as he was building his dream home. Holy crap, man. Tom Kohler did very well for himself for the house that he just built. It's kind of crazy. I'm like, man, you're like a 5th starter a couple times. And you haven't been in the league, I don't think, in a couple years now. I think he ended up on the Dodger one point. Here we are, a couple years removed from that. Man, you did
you're
really
good-
well
good
for
with the
yourself.
investments.
He's made $13 million in his career.
Dude, this house and now at this time in the housing market, look up Tom Kohler. I'm telling you on Instagram, this housing market, what he put out there, holy crap. That house is incredible. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he has investment advice for me. Tom Kohler, if you're listening, reach out to me. Tell me how to make money where I can make a house like that because it looks great.
I will declare right now to the audience that we have totally run out of things to talk about when we have concluded a segment with Look Up Tom Kohler on Instagram.
The trees he had put in, crazy.
I have gotten yet another detail from this basketball game, and Tony is claiming that the block shot was one thing. Ron McGill has very reluctantly given very, very few details on any of this. He does not want to talk trash, but I believe there are some details missing that the group would be interested in. We'll get to that in a second. But, Billy, do you have something to start us off here with Ron McGill this week?
Hey, Ron, how's it going? It's Billy.
Hey, Billy, good to hear from you, buddy.
You too, Ron. So, Ron, I had a traumatic experience this weekend. I was walking my two dogs, Dopey and Izzy, and when we passed this house, we had these two cats come out of a gated driveway, and they were very angry, and they started attacking my dogs. They were, like, snapping at them. They were hissing. They were going like this back and forth with their claws going after them. And I had them on the leash, and I had a poop bag in my other hand. And I was trying to separate the situation and try to de-escalate. And then the cats continued to follow us down the block. And I was like, what's going to go on here? So I'm kind of wondering, what is the maximum that I can do to prevent that situation and protect my dogs that would not constitute abusing a cat? Like, I can't just go up and kick the cat or punch the cat to protect my dogs, can I? What I did was I got a dried up palm frond that I found on the street, and I had that, and I walked around the rest of the block holding it in my hand just in case these cats came back around. I was going to kind of swing it at this. Yeah.
That was good. That was good preparation, Billy. I applaud you for that.
Because I didn't want to throw the poop bag at them. That was my other thing. But I figure I only get one shot with that, and I got to hit them square between the eyes. Because if I miss, then what am I going to do?
The poop bag
Listen,
filled
Billy,
with
I'm
poop.
going to say something that's probably going to make some cat people very upset. But listen, you're the responsible pet owner. You've got your dogs on a leash. You're doing the right thing. If I've got a cat coming after my dog that's not restrained in any way, is not being responsibly contained where it should be, I'm going to defend my dog. And if it resorts to me kicking the cat or doing whatever I have to do to defend my dog from that cat, I'm going to do so. Now, I'm hoping those cats will not rabid. I find that very strange behavior, that cats are going to come after a dog. I know cats will hold their ground. They'll hunch their back. They'll hiss. But to come running after a dog, that's strange behavior. And I would be concerned as to whether those cats were infected with something that's making them act that way. So, that would also put me at risk if I'm going to try to kick or get that animal away from my dog. If that cat bites me or something, it could infect me too. So there's a lot of problems there. It's not an easy decision, but at the end of the day, I'm going to defend my dog as a responsible pet owner that has my dog on a leash. And if somebody's irresponsible, has their cats running free coming after my dogs, well, you know what? Your cat could be in trouble.
Weirdly, I was having the conversation this weekend with Ron McGill about rabies, about when one of these cats is infected with something or an animal of some sort. Can you explain to people how awful a human being getting rabies is, even the cure, Ron?
Oh, yeah. Well, if you get bitten by an animal, they don't know if it's rabid or not. You're going to have to go through a series of shots. These are rabies shots that are given directly into your stomach, into your abdomen. I have not had them done to me, but I've heard from other people it is one of the most painful series of shots you could ever dream or have a nightmare of having. So it's a very, very bad thing. If you don't get those shots and you get rabies will kill you. If you don't get, treated for rabies, it will kill you. So you really have no choice but to get those shots. And unfortunately, a lot of times people get bitten by a stray dog or cat. You can't get that dog or cat to confirm whether it has rabies or not. So you have to get the shots. And it sucks, to be honest with you.
Ron, I saw a video of a hippo defending its territory against a coalition of lions crossing a river. Now, we know that hippos they're very territorial, but are lions good swimmers? I know that they hate the water and whatnot.
Yeah, they can effectively swim pretty well. I mean, if you go to the Okavango Delta in Botswana, those lions are actually excellent swimmers, and they learn to hunt in the water. They live in the water. It's like living in the Everglades of Africa. So they are good swimmers. It's just in some places like Kenya, Tanzania, some of the more arid places of Africa, they hate the water. But they can effectively swim when they have to. Lions
living in water? Water?
When I say living in water, they're out of the water a lot of the times too, but they're in the water very, very frequently. I'll show you guys pictures you can put online, whatever, of these lions Big males, huge manes, swimming with just their noses above the water and the tip of the tail, swimming across these bodies of water and hunting in water, going after Cape buffalo in water. This is really dramatic stuff to watch. So those lions are like the NFL football players of lions in Africa. They're the strongest, biggest lions in the world.
I saw a video the other day of a lion on the back of a hippo in crocodile-infested waters, somehow making it out of the water by jumping on the heads and swimming his way out. I can't imagine the scenario where or why a lion would end up on the back of a hippo in the middle of a river.
Did you tell him to get off?
Okay. Should I leave that open for an answer or just dead space?
Ryan, Julian here. When you blocked Tony's shot, did you say, get that shit out of here, not in my house, I am Roncula? What was your phrase?
No, brother, I just did a Draymond Green stare. That's all I did.
Nice.
Well, for those...
I don't ever talk on the court, and if Tony says otherwise, he's a lion sack.
No.
Because I never say anything.
Whoa!
No, he did not.
I've never talked to anybody. I've never said anything about anybody wrong on the court.
Listen, I think trash talking is just a bunch of bullshit, to be honest with you guys. Some people do it very well, but I never, ever do that, because the bottom line is you may have a great play one time and that's going to come around and bite you in the ass when the next guy blocks your stuff. So I never talk on the court.
Tony, what is your contention that this block was as described yesterday on our show?
Very, very easy, Dan. So, and Ron can back this up. Caught the ball in the middle, free throw line, turned around. Ron was in the center of a 2-3. I went to put up a little floater, and he got it with the tip of his fingers. It was not a pack back down. It was not a volleyball spike. Okay, in the fingernails, the tip of the fingers, whatever.
And then he swung at you with a samurai sword.
Yeah. That was my car. That's a different story. But I've never talked any trash to Ron. Ron does not talk trash to me. We don't do that. We're very amenable on the court. Yeah. We're friends, even, some would say, actually. But he tipped the ball with his fingers, and that was it. Anything else is a absolute lie.
Oh, look at his face.
Wow. Tony, you and I have very distinctly different memories.
I love it! Wow.
Huh.
What was your memory, Ron?
My memory was that, in all fairness to Tony, that I did go in for kind of a layup hook type thing that Tony did get a fingertip on, and I would call that a block shot. But he came up there, and I would call it almost like a volleyball spike.
Wow.
I mean, it was the palm of my hand. There was no fingertips. It was the
I don't know about that. Wow, I don't know about that.
It was more like
Oh, no.
Well, there's another detail, too, that had been left out. I'd like some verification or denials. The ball then hit Tony in the face.
Oh, absolutely not.
Whoa.
That's egregious. The ball did not hit me in the face whatsoever. Whoa. The ball was up almost 8 feet in the air where Ron was able to get it with his hand, right? There's no way the ball went back into my face. That's an absolute lie.
If he volleyball spikes it down, it could.
Ron, your recollection, did the ball hit him in the face?
Dan, I really don't recall. All I recall is I got my palm on the ball, down, slapped. That was not a fingertip block by any stretch of the imagination.
How's your
that
hand?
I vividly.
Sounds like your hand hit it pretty hard. Are you okay?
Witty, what do you have for Ron McGill?
So last week we talked about how you missed an appearance due to a turtle surgery at Zoo Miami, and we more yelled at you for missing the appearance than actually explaining what happened. So it seemed like this loggerhead turtle was attacked by a shark. What do you then do at the zoo?
Well, what happened was, and I don't mean to get graphic, I know sometimes little kids are listening to this, but this loggerhead is a big loggerhead. She's probably about 388 pounds when we weighed her. Her left front flipper had been ripped off by a shark, where the entire flipper was gone and just the humerus bone was sticking out, but just tattered flesh all around it. So we had to get that turtle into surgery to cut off that bone and sew off that open wound so that, first of all, it didn't bleed out, and second of all, so that it didn't get a portal for infection go into that. I'm happy to say that she's doing very, very well. She actually laid over 100 eggs. During the procedure, she was laden with eggs. So we're hoping that within the next several weeks, we're going to be releasing her, and hopefully you'll see that in the news also. Her name is Baymax. And yes, I had to attend that surgery so that I could document it for a media release. And, and for our veterinary team, our animal health team likes to have images and photographs of these procedures so they have reference material.
So, Ron, you said during the surgery, the turtle laid eggs?
Yeah, what happens was they gave her oxytocin. They wanted her to try to push those eggs out as much as possible while she was on the table, because it was easier to collect the eggs this way. They don't get damaged. And because she's in a recovery pool, this way she doesn't lay the eggs in the water where they will die. So we were able to cause that kind of, anybody who's received oxytocin. A woman, when you're pregnant, you get oxytocin sometimes to get you to go into labor. And it's the same thing with the turtle. And yeah, she dropped a bunch of eggs. The vet was right there. Well, they were working on her left front flipper. Another vet was in her back rump area, just catching the eggs as they came out.
What happens to the 100 eggs?
They were actually placed by our Miami-Dade Parks Department. They have a turtle rescue team that actually places those eggs into an artificial nest. So they're actually being incubated and monitored in an artificial nest.
How do you know that a medication like oxytocin that works on humans works on turtles?
That's what they go to veterinary school for. I mean, these are all types of things. I guess they were tested over years, and they go through different types of programs. Most of these drugs that we use on humans were used on animals first. I mean, animals are used as a test to make sure that it's safe and that it's effective. So, yeah, a lot of those drugs can bridge from humans to animals.
Do you morally disagree with that?
With testing on animals?
Yeah.
No, I don't. If there's no other option, I disagree with testing on animals for things like freaking makeup and vain things like that when you're testing. I mean, there's no need to do that. But it was when it's testing on something that is for the health and life-saving procedures. Listen, guys, I know this is going to sound terrible. And the last time I said this, I got a ton of emails hating me. But at the end of the day, guys, we cannot prioritize an animal life over a human life. My bottom line has always been, if we take good care of the humans, then the humans can take care of the animals. And we need to test ethically and morally. Again, I don't believe in testing freaking makeup, eyeliners by injecting bunnies and stuff with that. That's crap. This vanity stuff I don't go for. But when it's talking about drugs for cancer and things like that, yes. If my family, somebody in my family is dying of cancer, and you can get a cure by testing drugs on a rat or a mouse or even a rabbit, yes, I'm for that. I think it's part of the way of learning.
What do you regard as the most difficult surgery you guys have had to do at the zoo?
Wow, that's a good one. I'll tell you what. We had an American crocodile that was run over by a truck in the Florida Keys crossing the road. And its entire skull was shattered. Bottom jaw was hanging out. The nose tip was it was just in pieces. We had a Dr. Doug Mader come in here, an incredible surgeon, and used all kinds of metal plates, literally. And he put, I think it was a total of 67 different screws, screwing these metal plates to basically rebuild that skull. We called it Robo-Croc. What an incredible surgery it was.
For those of you who do not know, Ron McGill's endowment is now something that, beyond being substantive, is worth more than $3 million. And he personally handles the direct effect of funds to places where he has vetted and knows that the money is needed. So recently you bought a truck. Was it Sea Turtle or was it Sea Bird? You bought a truck for some people
we bought a new ambulance for the Pelican Harbor Seabird Station. This is one of the best rehab facilities here in South Florida. They're the ones who take in all the injured native wildlife, from pelicans to seagulls to possums to all kinds of animals. They rescue them, they rehab them, and they release them back in the wild. They do great work, and they had a vehicle that looked like a busted down piece of garbage to go out there and help rescue these animals. So through the endowment, we were able to purchase them a brand new vehicle that they now use to rescue those animals and release them back to the wild.
Ron, first of all, thoughts and prayers to the turtle. Not a very humorous situation, no pun intended.
Oh, jeez, Billy, you were waiting for that.
Yeah, Ron, we were kind of talking back here, and we were wondering, because it seems like these surgeries only happen during our show, like never during Paul and Young Ron or the Saulo Gigante days. So we were kind of wondering, like, why do they only happen on Tuesdays when we record with you? And then some people were wondering, and I'm not going to put any names out there.
Roy!
Ron's not actually, operating on these animals. Maybe he just steps out for a quick call. You know what I mean?
Well, I've got it documented. Listen, guys, I say this over and over. I carry a huge chip on my shoulder because people give me a lot more credit than I deserve. I'm just a storyteller. Those people are the story, and it's my job to kind of tell their story. So that's what I do. I try to get in there, try to get some good images, try to tell their story so they get the credit they deserve. And no, guys, I don't just blow off your show to do that. And as a matter of fact, I've blown off other things to do your show because I feel that this show is where I've got my number one loyalty. I say that wholeheartedly. There is no show that I do, whether it be anything from I'm not going to drop names because then Le Batard gets in my case for name dropping. But the bottom line is, you guys are my number one priority.
Except on a day that a sea turtle has been attacked by a shark.
Dan,
This is Billy's contention.
tell that story.
This is Billy's contention. This is not mine.
I'm just asking the questions.
The important questions are being asked. Ron, thank you. We will talk to you again next week. And again, for those of you, he does not get paid to do this. He's been doing it. He's our longest standing guest. And if you want the money to go straight toward the helping and the conserving of animals, Ron McGill, this is a charitable effort worth getting behind.
What's the surgery that happens at the zoo where you're like, nah, I could still do Le Batard?
Yeah, good question.
I just, as a matter of fact, there's one going on right now with a giant anteater, guys. How about that?
What
How
happened?
about that?
What
How
happened to the
about
anteater?
that? What
The
did
poor
happen
anteater,
to
he
the
doesn't have your
anteater?
attention.
What
Yeah,
happened?
come on, Ron. Come on.
He's
Let's
actually out of
prioritize.
surgery. He's going through an ultrasound exam to find out about an obstruction.
That's nothing. Yeah, you know
Constipated.
you're
No, I
all
know.
right.
If it was this, I still wouldn't be there. I'm here.
No, it's a
I
United.
should be in the hospital right now with that giant anteater,
All right.
okay, documenting the ultrasound exam and everything. But no, I'm here with you.
That
But
thing's
okay.
fine. Yeah, un peotro. That anteater's
Yes,
fine.
that's
Don't worry
right.
about that. Yeah.
Atravesado. Peo atravesado.
¿Qué hola?
Hasta la vista, baby.
Yes, go ahead and put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. Should the show be flattered that Ron skipped the constipated anteater in order to be
Hey,
here?
honestly.
I know he's constipated. We didn't know it's a constipation. That's not what we're doing the ultrasound for.
It has
We're
to
doing the
fart.
ultrasound. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Wait, what's the worst case? Oh, he's gone.